Hello everyone, Dr. Mims here. I'm going to take us through the Tejas Publishing Company Incorporated case. It's on page 66, I believe, in chapter 3 of the MMGG textbook. Why don't you pause the recording and read through the case, become familiar with the numbers. I will be using Excel to prepare the case since you already have a handwritten approach to completing the case. Okay, everyone, now that you've read through the case and become familiar with it, I would like for you all to take a moment and let's look at how I have my spreadsheet set up. In row 1, cell A, I've typed in the case name, page number. In row 2, I've got the unit number, equal. In other words, for this column B, we will track what's happening to a crate. In column C, we will track what's happening at the carton level. And in column D, we will track what's happening at each book level. Because if you read the case, you see that the manufacturer ships in crates, which contains 12 cartons, and each carton contains 12 books. So that's why I want you to have crate, carton, each book. And then for column E, I have set up the percentage markup, so we can have our percentages for markup on cost or markup on sales price handy for us. So take a moment and pause this video right now, and then come back and I will scroll up so you can continue setting up the rest of your spreadsheet. Set this up exactly in the rows and columns that I've got. Okay, now that you've typed in all of this information and your spreadsheet looks like this, let's go down and I want you to set up the remainder of your spreadsheet. I believe you already saw that we had outputs on A23. Then on row 24, I start putting in our questions. These are going to be our outputs for the case. Question 1. So pause the video and let's get down to questions 1 through 4. This video will complete questions 1 through 4, and I will set up a second video to illustrate questions 5 and 6. So for right now, we're going to use this setup. Pause the video and type everything in. Oops, looks like I have some answers already in here. Take those out. Okay, now that you've set up your spreadsheet, we can already see that this first part here of the case, and one of the reasons I cut it separately, is it's just a lot of background information. So all the real data happens to be in this section of the case. So let's take this one step at a time. The novel will sell to consumers at a retail price of $7 each. Okay, so that's each book. We know that the consumers are buying it at $7. We'll type that in. We're going to go up to column D. We're going to make sure we have the dollar sign for column D. Why don't we go ahead and do that for column C and for column B. In Mac users, you'll use the Format tab. Okay, so we've got the cost. So now we also know the retailer's selling price, don't we? We do. We know the retailer's selling price is the consumer's cost. Okay, so let's take a moment right here and figure out if it says here that a wholesale unit is made up of 12 books. So that is a carton. You see where it says the local wholesaler normally earns a markup per carton of a wholesale unit made up of 12 books. So this is each book. So a carton, let's just make a note, is 12 books each, right? Make our column a little bigger there. And then a crate is 12 cartons each. Okay? So I'll make our column a little bigger there. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now we know if we want to get the selling price of the retailer's carton, we're going to take the $7, right? And we're going to multiply it times what? 12, right? Because that's how many books are in a carton. All right, so now let's see what it says. $7, the retailer markup is 30% of the consumer's purchase price. Okay, so this is 30% that goes in this column because these are just our percentages. We'll go up here and make this column percentages. Let's give it 2 decimals. Okay, you want you to get in the habit of just giving 2 decimals all the time in this course. Now, let's see. That would be the percentage markup on sales price, wouldn't it? Okay, that's great. Percentage markup on sales price. We need to calculate the cost, correct? We need to calculate the cost, and we're going to want to do this for each book and each carton. Okay, so let's look up which formula we need to do. We have percent markup on sales price. We have to calculate cost. I'm going to take a quick look at my textbook on page 56 and remind myself of the markup formulas. 2 more pages and I'll be there. So we have the percent markup on selling price and we're calculating cost. So clearly we need to use formula 1, selling price times 1 minus the percent markup on sales price. So let's go back over to our spreadsheet. We will do that in our cost cell. See where it says each book cost. This is row D17. I'm going to take our sales price, multiply it times 1 minus our markup on sales price. Isn't that correct? And hit enter. Now we can do a couple of things. First, we can come over here and we can take this cost per book and multiply it times 12. That way we get a carton cost for the retailer. We can also determine the difference. Remember in our P&L statements we would take revenues and subtract cost of goods sold. Okay. Let's take and determine the difference here, which is our sales price minus our cost, so we can see what the actual dollar margin or markup is. And we can just copy and paste this over here as well. Okay. Now, given this information that we have the markup, we can now calculate the percent markup on cost, can't we? Because here the markup is based on sales price. If we take this markup now and take the markup and divide it by the cost figure, we will get what? The percent markup on cost. This is super. And remember, we always have the selling price of the next level up whenever we have the cost of the lower level in the channel. So clearly we have the markup on sales price. We have the sales price for the local wholesaler. In this particular case, when you read it, you notice that we have 2 intermediaries before we get to the retailer. There's a local wholesaler and a regional wholesaler, and this is not uncommon in a number of different industries. The one that comes to mind for me is liquor, but that's just because I know some people that work for Benny Keith. Okay, so now we have the cost for the retailer, which means we have the selling price of the first local wholesaler. Now let's see what the case says about the local wholesaler. It says the books are shipped from the Tennessee plant nationwide to regional book wholesalers. Each of these regional book wholesalers in turn sells the books to several local book wholesalers who then sell the book to the retailer. Well, that's a lot of selling. Okay, the local wholesale chain store distribution center normally earns $4.80 per carton. Okay, this is great. I'm in the carton column. I've got the actual dollar markup. $4 is not a lot, so I hope they're selling a great deal of books. So I'm going to put in $4.80. Now, this is great because I can take our revenue or selling price, I can subtract the markup in dollars, and I can then calculate the actual cost per carton. That's terrific. That is just terrific. Okay, so with this information, I can come over here to my markup percentage column, and I can calculate markup percentage on sales price, which is 8.16%. And then I can also calculate the markup percentage on cost. I think as we continue to go through these examples, you can start to see how each of these elements sort of work together, since you see the basis where the numbers are coming from. Now, retailers rarely will work on a crate basis. Those crates are usually just for the wholesalers, the intermediaries. So let's calculate the cost of a crate, because there are 12 cartons in a crate, and we can get the cost for the wholesaler, the local wholesaler, on a crate. We can also get the selling price of the local wholesaler for a crate. Isn't that great? Okay. And we can also determine the markup or margin on the whole crate by simply subtracting these numbers. Now, if I wanted to check my math, $4.80 times 12 should come out to be close to 470, 57.60. Let's just do a little double check here. I'll get away from this column. I just want to check my math real quick. Look at that. We're in great shape. Okay, so I want to erase that. Okay, so now we're not using this each book information column anymore, because these folks, like I said, the regional wholesaler and local wholesaler are dealing in crates and cartons. Let's see what else we can learn from our case. The regional wholesaler receives a markup of $20.60 per crate. Okay, here we go. 21.60 per crate. Okay, great. Now, clearly, if our cost per crate at the local wholesaler's level must be the selling price of the regional wholesaler. See how that is? Remember, I kept showing you in class, cost at one level is the sales price at another. All right, very good. I meant to put this information here, which means, we can now calculate the cost of the regional wholesaler by taking their sales price and subtracting the margin. Isn't that correct? Isn't that cool? Okay, now we can actually determine the amount per carton that we're talking about. By what? Dividing by 12. Why? Because each carton has 12 books. A crate has 12 cartons. Wow, look at that. That is very little margin on each carton. Look at that, $1.80, $1.80. Okay, so now what we can do is we can calculate our markup on cost and markup on sales price, can't we? Super, super, super. Let's do that. Let's take the actual dollar markup and divide it by the sales price. And now we have the percent markup on sales price. Isn't that great? It's just so terrific. I hope you can see how this is working out. Now we're going to do the same thing again, but we're going to make our denominator the cost equal the difference divided by our denominator, which we're going to make cost this time, which tells us the percent markup on cost. Isn't that cool? And here again, we know that if our cost of the regional wholesaler is $6.26, we have now learned what the sales price is of the manufacturer on a crate. Okay, so we've completed all of the calculations that I think we can. Let's see what we need to do to answer some of these questions. It says figure out the selling price and cost for each participant in the channel for this book. That book was called something Finding Gold. We need the price and cost at each of the retailer, local wholesaler, regional wholesaler, and the manufacturer. Now, I'll be honest with you. I'm pretty confident we can get selling price and cost at the retailer, local wholesaler, and regional, but I'm fairly confident the only thing we can find at the manufacturer's level is the selling price. I cannot find anything in this particular case. If you read the entire thing again, let me know. I don't see anything that can help us determine what was the margin for the manufacturer. Therefore, I think that this one is going to be left blank. Now, here's what you're going to be expected to do when you have your cases in class. So the first question says, figure out the selling price and cost for each participant. So let's make an output section. You should have this output section here, okay? And it's going to say selling price and cost for each channel member. Let's start with TBCI. We're going to put unable, okay? But the selling price we have, don't we? It's $626.40. And now we'll go to the regional wholesaler, and let's look at what our cost was there. We got that. In fact, in the case, what you would probably do is refer to the selling price of the manufacturer. However, we need to go pick up the regional wholesaler's selling price, which is all this question is asking for, which means we have the cost for the local wholesaler, isn't that right? And the local wholesaler's selling price we were able to calculate. So now here we have an issue. We need to now also have at the carton level the local wholesaler's carton cost. Let's get that. We could actually do it again here, dividing by 12. And the local wholesaler's selling price, we can do that here, dividing by 12. Because clearly a retailer is not going to buy 12 cartons of 12 books on a crate. So that means the retailer's cost we need to do at both the carton level and the book level. So we've got the retailer's cost here, and we can take that number in the each column. Remember, this is the each column. And divide that by 12. And we started off with $7 to begin with, right? So we'll do this here just to show equal $7, which is D36 times 12. Okay, hope I'm not going too fast, but let's save our work. We certainly don't want to lose all that work. But this is sort of how we should start practicing putting in Excel an input section and an output section. Let me move my tab back over. Sort of an input section and an output section. Okay, so I want to pause for a moment and let you sort of absorb this material. You can always pause it on anything where any formulas exist. Remember, we were given just $7 as the each selling price and 30% as the markup on selling price. And then the only thing else that we were given was some of the markup dollars. And everything else we were able to calculate from those three numbers. Isn't that awesome? I just think that's so cool. All right, if you're back, let's look at question 2. What is the dollar markup of the retailer? Use that to calculate their MUSP and MUC. All right, so question 2 is asking us the dollar markup of the retailer. Okay, so the dollar markup of the retailer is let's put this right here. Let's do this. Let's write this like this. Dollar markup of retailer per book. And then let's give us a little extra line here. Sorry about that. Go up and insert. And then let's say dollar markup of retailer per carton. Okay? And we will simply we'll use our same thing. We'll use our same columns. The dollar markup of the retailer. We need to calculate. Okay? Equal $7 minus $4.90. Enter. $7 minus $4.90 is $2.10. Then for the carton, let's do $84 minus $58.80. Enter. We've got $25.20. Okay. We have two more answers we need to give for Q2. Sorry about that. Okay, so we need the percent MUSP retailer, and we need the percent MUC on retailer. Okay? How about if we do this? How about if we take these four lines here to make them really neat and line them up to the left? To the right. Okay, so what do we have to do here? Well, we have to take the dollar difference, and it doesn't matter if it's the carton level or at the book level, but we need to take the dollar difference, which is equal to 10. MUSP means we have to divide it by the sales price. Okay, and the markup on cost would be 210 divided by the cost. Very good. So now we have the percent markup by the sales price by the retailer, which was given, and our work checks out. And now we calculated the markup on cost by the retailer because we know the difference between selling price and cost. Revenues minus cost of goods sold. Cost of goods sold. All right, let's take a look at the dollar markup of the local wholesaler. Okay, and then use that to calculate the MUSP and MUC. Okay, very good. So we'll probably want to make something that looks very similar to our previous answers. So when someone's grading our work, we can have a very nice, easy way for our grader to look at our work. Okay, 1, 2, 3 lines, and here we'll need a dollar markup of LBW per crate, and I need to put this to make it LBW. I usually copy and paste so I can save time. I don't know if it really saves any time or not. All right, very good. Okay, so the dollar markup of LBW per crate. Okay, I think we calculated that. Dollar markup, LBW per crate. We did. Okay, dollar markup, LBW per crate. Make sure I've got the right number. Hit enter. Okay. Dollar markup of the LBW per carton. Dollar markup LBW per carton. Very good. Percent markup on sales price is sales price. And the percent markup on cost, 45. Okay. I just wanted to set up this spreadsheet so you can see all the activity up here. As we get closer to one of the cases that you're going to do in class, we're going to want all of these calculations that I did here actually show up down here in the output section. But I hope this first time through really shows you the activity going through it. All right, now let's look at what our question 4 is, and we'll be finished with this video. What is the dollar markup of the regional book wholesaler? And we're going to do the same thing here. Okay, so I'm going to take that stuff here, I'm going to copy, and I don't have enough room, so let me get some room here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got enough room now. Come in here, copy and paste. Okay, so we need this is R in each of these cases. Regional book, wholesaler. Just making sure I don't have any typos in my homework. I'll probably do this a once over before I turn it in for grading. I know you're probably snickering because I'm the grader, or I might have some help grading. Okay, so now we can do the same thing again. Actual dollar markup. Well, clearly it's going to be by crate on the regional side. So let's come up here and get regional crate markup. Okay, per carton. Regional dollar markup carton. Gosh, that's certainly slim margins. Percentages are very, very small here. Markup on selling price. 3 points. Sorry. Can't copy and paste a calculation like that. Equal this number up here. 333. And the reason I'm doing it this way is if I were to change any of these numbers, my answers down here would be okay. All right, so we've double-checked everything as we went along. We've answered all the questions for 1 through 4. I'm going to make a second video on the markup chains going down, bottom up and top down. Thank you so much for watching this, and look forward to your success.